In every war, there's always one job everyone knows is cursed. Not officially, of course. On paper, it sounds respectable. Standard bearer, engineer, messenger, recon. But the men in the line know the truth. Some roles exist so that somebody has to stand where every enemy gun is pointed first. In this video, we're going to look at a handful of those jobs. The ones where, if you got tapped on the shoulder for this role, you didn't need a briefing to know the odds. From medieval beacon guards and bannermen, to gunpowder sappers trying to blow open a gate, to World War I runners, Vietnam tunnel rats, and modern forward observers, the pattern barely changes. Command needs visibility. Command needs information. Command needs a symbol. And someone on the front line is told, go stand over there and make that happen. This is Calm Conquest. These are some of history's most dangerous frontline jobs, and why command kept creating them. Let's start with the obvious ones. Before radios and GPS and encrypted chat, armies still had to do three things in the chaos. Know where their own people are, know roughly where the enemy is, and keep everyone moving in the same direction. One brutal solution. Make one part of your army impossible to miss. That's the beacon on the hill. That's the banner in the line. If you're guarding a signal fire on the wall during a siege, your entire job is to sit next to the brightest object in the night sky, so your side can see you, and so can theirs. Archers don't have to guess where to aim. The fire answers for you. Same logic on the open field. The banner bearer stands slightly in front of the line, holding a tall, brightly colored flag that quietly says, if you're looking for the heart of this formation, shoot here. Command loves this role. From a hill at the back, that beacon and that banner are perfect. You can see where your units are. You can send signals. You can rally men around a visible point. But for the man under the cloth, or next to the brazier, it's different. He isn't hiding in the crowd. He is the crowd marker. Historically, these men were often chosen for bravery, loyalty, or because they were trusted not to run. In practice, they also became one of the first things the enemy tried to remove. You can already see the trade: information and control for command, exposure and risk for one very visible man. Keep that pattern in your head. We're going to see it again, just with different uniforms. Now we move into the gunpowder age. Sieges get nastier, walls are thicker, gates are stronger. You can't always starve a fortress out, so somebody has to walk up to the door with explosives. Enter the petardier and the sapper. These are the men carrying a crude bomb called a petard right up to the base of a gate or wall. Their job is simple and suicidal. Cross the most exposed stretch of ground, under focused fire, get that charge close enough to do damage. The phrase "hoist with his own petard" comes straight from this. If the fuse was too short, the timing was off, or the defenders got lucky. The man placing the bomb was often the first one lifted into the air by his own work. From command's perspective, it makes cold sense. Blow the gate, and you might save days or weeks of siege. You might save hundreds of ordinary infantry who would have died in a frontal assault on an intact wall. To do that, you spend a handful of specialists, trained men with a very specific job. Men who know that if they've been called forward, the odds are not in their favor. Notice the pattern again. New technology gives command a new tool, a bright signal fire, a gunpowder charge, and the risk that comes with that tool gets pushed onto a very small group at the front. If the petardier survives, his reward is the same as the beacon guards. The wall falls, the gate breaks, the army cheers, and the man most responsible is probably too deaf, burned, or dead to enjoy it. Jump to World War I, artillery, machine guns, barbed wire. The battlefield has become an industrial-scale meat grinder. You'd think by now communication would be safer. Telephones, telegraph, field cables, and they did exist. Until a shell cut the line, or the wires got buried, or the whole system simply couldn't keep up with the chaos. So when command in one trench needed to talk to another position, they often fell back on the oldest technology of all: a person with a piece of paper. The trench runner's job was exactly what it sounds like. Take this message, cross that ground, try not to die. Sometimes the distance wasn't even that far, a few hundred meters, a dip in the ground, a ruined farmhouse, but every meter was under observation. Machine guns sighted in, artillery pre-registered on likely routes. The men in the trench knew it. When a runner was called up, everybody understood what that meant. You were leaving the safety of a hole in the earth to go and test whether the enemy was paying attention. For command, it's a cold calculation. One runner versus an entire company sitting blind. Losing the one is worth it if the message gets through and a bigger disaster is avoided. For the runner, the reality is simpler. You're the most important man on the field. For about 3 minutes, you're also the most exposed. Different era, different weapons, same pattern. Someone has to step out of cover so the system can keep working. Between wars, the tools change again. Bombs get bigger, air power arrives, radios improve. But the problem of we don't know what's under our feet doesn't go away. In Vietnam, American and Allied forces faced vast networks of tunnels dug by the Viet Cong. Storage, living quarters, supply routes, escape routes, all underground. You can bomb the surface, you can spray the jungle, but you can't be sure what's down there unless someone goes in. That someone was the tunnel rat, usually smaller soldiers, lightly equipped, crawling into tight, dark, airless tunnels with a flashlight, a pistol, and not much else. Every few meters could be a trap. A turn could hide an enemy. A side chamber might hold an entire squad. On the commander's map, the order sounds reasonable. We need to know what's under this village. Send someone in to check. On the surface, the unit might be in a defensive perimeter, under trees, with some room to move. Underground, the tunnel rat has none of that. No space, no easy retreat, no guarantee of backup. Like the other jobs in this video, the tunnel rat existed to solve a real tactical problem: the enemy's advantage in terrain and knowledge. And again, the solution was to concentrate that risk into a very small number of men, one tunnel at a time. If the rest of this video has been about being visible, the tunnel rat is the flip side, being alone, unseen, and still the first one to pay if the plan goes wrong. Finally, a role that still exists in different forms today: artillery, airstrikes, long-range weapons. They all have incredible reach. They're most effective when someone up front can see the target clearly and guide the fire in. That someone is the forward observer, or the recon team. Their job is to get to a vantage point: high ground, a rooftop, a ridge, a tree line overlooking the objective. From there they watch, they call in coordinates, they adjust fire, they report what the larger force can't see. And to do that, they often have to break the first rule every soldier learns: don't skyline yourself. If you're on the high ground with glass and a radio, you are simultaneously the most valuable and the most attractive target on the field. The main force might be dug in, hull down behind walls or inside vehicles. The forward observer, by definition, is out where the view is good and where the enemy's view of him is just as good. Once again, command's perspective is cold but logical. A small team up front, taking extra risk, can make the artillery and air power behind them dramatically more effective. Hundreds of men benefit from what a handful of exposed observers are doing. information and coordination for the system, concentrated danger for the few. We've skipped a lot of roles: mine-clearing teams, assault pioneers, pilots flying at treetop level, the first man through any door. But the pattern is the same. Every time new technology or tactics promise an edge, better communication, better explosives, better firepower, someone has to stand in a place where the risk collects. These most dangerous jobs weren't accidents. They were design choices. Choices made so that the rest of the machine could run a little smoother. For the men doing them, it often meant a quiet understanding. If this goes badly, I won't be the one writing the report about it. For us, looking back, it's a reminder. Behind every clean line on a map, behind every neat arrow in a textbook, there was always a small group told to go stand where the lines crossed and the arrows ended. If you want more of these frontline stories, bad orders at the top, good men stuck living with them, stick around, hit subscribe, and check out the shorts on this channel. This has been Calm Conquest. Thanks for watching.